Chapter 7 of All Quiet on the Western Front by Erich Maria Remarque, translated by Arthur Wesley Wien. This Librivox recording is in the public domain. Chapter 7. They have taken us farther back than usual to a field depot so that we can be reorganized. Our company needs more than 100 reinforcements. In the meantime, when we are off duty, we loaf around. After a couple of days, Himmelstas comes up to us. He has had the bounce knocked out of him since he has been in the trenches and wants to get on good terms with us. I am willing enough because I saw how he brought Hyaevestus in when he was hit in the back. Besides, he's decent enough to treat us at the canteen when we are out of funds. Only Tjaden is still reserved and suspicious. But he is won over too, when Himmelstas tells us that he is taking the place of the sergeant cook who has gone on leave. As a proof, he produces on the spot 2 pounds of sugar for us and a ½ pound of butter, specially for Tjaden. He even sees to it that we are detailed the next 2 or 3 days to the cookhouse for potato and turnip peeling. The grub he gives us there is real officer's fare. Thus, for the moment, we have the 2 things a soldier needs for contentment: good food and rest. That's not much when one comes to think of it. A couple of years ago, we would have despised ourselves terribly, but now we are quite happy. It is all a matter of habit, even the front line. Habit is the explanation of why we seem to forget things so quickly. Yesterday, we were under fire. Today, we act the fool and go foraging through the countryside. Tomorrow, we go up to the trenches again. We forget nothing, really. But so long as we have to stay here in the field, the front-line days, when they are past, sink down in us like a stone. They are too serious for us to be able to reflect on them at once. If we did that, we should have been destroyed long ago. I soon found out this much. Terror can be endured so long as a man simply ducks, but it kills if a man thinks about it. Just as we turn into animals when we go up to the line, because that is the only way which brings us through safely, so we turn into wags and loafers when we are out resting. We can do nothing else. It is a sheer necessity. We want to live at any price, so we cannot burden ourselves with feelings which, though they might be ornamental enough in peacetime, would be out of place here. Kemmerich is dead. Hyaevestus is dying. They will have a job with Hans Kramer's body at the Judgment Day, piecing it together after a direct hit. Martens has no legs anymore. Meyer is dead. Max is dead. Beyer is dead. Hammerling is dead. There are 120 wounded men lying somewhere or other. It is a damnable business, but what has it to do with us now? We live. If it were possible for us to save them, then it would be seen how much we cared. We would have a shot at it, though we went under ourselves. For we can be damned quixotic when we like. Fear we do not know much about. Terror of death, yes, but that is a different matter. That is physical. But our comrades are dead. We cannot help them. They have their rest, and who knows what is waiting for us. We will make ourselves comfortable and sleep, and eat as much as we can stuff into our bellies, and drink and smoke so that the hours are not wasted. Life is short. The terror of the front sinks deep down when we turn our backs upon it. We make grim, coarse jests about it. When a man dies, then we say he had nipped off his turd, and so we speak of everything. That keeps us from going mad. As long as we take it that way, we maintain our own resistance. But we do not forget. It's all rot that they put in the war news about the good humor of the troops, how they are arranging dances almost before they are out of the front line. We don't act like that because we're in a good humor. We are in a good humor because otherwise we should go to pieces. If it were not so, we could not hold out much longer. Our humor becomes more bitter every month. And this I know. All these things that now, while we are still in the war, sink down in us like a stone, after the war, shall waken again, and then shall begin the disentanglement of life and death. The days, the weeks, the years out here shall come back again, and our dead comrades shall then stand up again and march with us. Our heads shall be clear, we shall have a purpose, and so we shall march, our dead comrades beside us, the years at the front behind us. Against whom? Against whom? Some time ago there was an army theater in these parts. Colored posters of the performances are still sticking on a hoarding. With wide eyes, Crop and I stand in front of it. We can hardly credit that such things still exist. A girl in a light summer dress, with a red patent leather belt about her hips. She is standing with one hand on a railing, and with the other she holds a straw hat. She wears white stockings and white shoes, fine buckle shoes with high heels. Behind her smiles a blue lake with white horses. At the side is a bright bay. She is a lovely girl with a delicate nose, red lips, and slender legs, wonderfully clean and well cared for. She certainly bathes twice a day, and never has any dirt under her nails. At most, perhaps, a bit of sand from the beach. Beside her stands a man in white trousers, a blue jacket, and sailor's cap, but he interests us much less. The girl on the poster is a wonder to us. We have quite forgotten that there are such things, and even now we hardly believe our eyes. We have seen nothing like it for years, nothing like it for happiness, beauty, and joy. That is peacetime. That is as it should be. We feel excited. Just look at those thin shoes, though. She couldn't march many miles in those, I say, and then begin to feel silly, for it is absurd to stand in front of a picture like this and think of nothing but marching. How old would she be? Crop asks. About 22 at the most, I hazard. Then she would be older than us. She is not more than 17, let me tell you. It gives us goose-flesh. That would be good, Albert. What do you think? He nods. I have some white trousers at home, too. White trousers, say I, but a girl like that. We look askance at one another. There's not much to boast of here. 2 ragged, stained, and dirty uniforms. It is hopeless to compete. So we proceed to tear the young man with the white trousers off the hoarding, taking care not to damage the girl. That is something towards it. We could go and get deloused anyway, Crop then suggests. I am not very enthusiastic, because it doesn't do one's clothes any good, and a man is lousy again inside 2 hours. But when we have considered the picture once more, I declare myself willing. I even go farther. We might see if we could get a clean shirt as well. Socks might be better, says Albert, not without reason. Yes, socks too, perhaps. Let's go and explore a bit. Then Lear and Tjaden stroll up. They look at the poster, and immediately the conversation becomes smutty. Lear was the first of our class to have intercourse, and he gave stirring details of it. After his fashion, he enjoys himself over the picture, and Tjaden supports him nobly. It does not distress us exactly. Who isn't smutty is no soldier. It merely does not suit us at the moment, so we edge away and march off to the delousing station with the same feeling as if it were a swell gentleman's outfitters. The houses in which we are billeted lie near the canal. On the other side of the canal there are ponds flanked with poplars. On the other side of the canal there are women, too. The houses on our side have been abandoned. On the other side, though, one occasionally sees inhabitants. In the evening we go swimming. 3 women come strolling along the bank. They walk slowly and don't look away, although we have no bathing suits. Lear calls out to them. They laugh and stop to watch us. We fling remarks at them in broken French, anything that comes into our heads, hastily and all jumbled together, anything to detain them. They are not specially wonderful pieces, but then where are such to be had about here? There is one slim little brunette. Her teeth gleam when she laughs. She has quick movements. Her dress swings loosely about her legs. Although the water is cold, we are very jovial, and do our best to interest them so that they will stay. We try to make jokes, and they answer with things we cannot understand. We laugh and beckon. Chadden is more crafty. He runs into the house, gets a loaf of army bread, and holds it up. That produces a great effect. They nod and beckon us to come over, but we don't dare to do that. It is forbidden to cross to the opposite bank. There are sentries on all the bridges. It's impossible without a pass, so we indicate that they should come over to us, but they shake their heads and point to the bridge. They are not allowed to pass either. They turn away and walk slowly down the canal, keeping along the towpath all the way. We accompany them swimming. After a few hundred yards, they turn off and point to a house that stands a little distance away among the trees and shrubbery. Lear asks if they live there. They laugh. Sure, that's their house. We call out to them that we would like to come, sometime when the guards cannot see us. At night. Tonight. They raise their hands, put them together, rest their faces on them, and shut their eyes. They understand. The slim brunette does a two-step. The blonde girl twitters, "Bread, good." Eagerly, we assure them that we will bring some with us. And other tasty bits, too. We roll our eyes and try to explain with our hands. Lear nearly drowns trying to demonstrate a sausage. If it were necessary, we would promise them a whole quartermaster's store. They go off and frequently turn and look back. We climb out on the bank on our side of the canal and watch to see whether they go into the house, for they might easily have been lying. Then we swim back. No one can cross the bridge without leave, so we will simply have to swim over at night. We are full of excitement. We cannot last out without a drink, so we go to the canteen where there is beer and a kind of punch. We drink punch and tell one another lying tales of our experiences. Each man gladly believes the other man's story, only waiting impatiently till he can cap it with a taller one. Our hands are fidgety. We smoke countless cigarettes, until Kropp says, "We might as well take them a couple of cigarettes, too." So we put some inside our caps to keep them. The sky turns apple green. There are 4 of us, but only 3 can go. We must shake off Chadden, so ply him with rum and punch until he rocks. As it turns dark, we go to our billets, Chadden in the center. We are all glowing and full of a lust for adventure. The little brunette is mine. We settle that by cutting for her. Chadden drops on his sack of straw and snores. Once he wakes up and grins so craftily that we are alarmed and begin to think he is cheating, and that we have given him the punch to no purpose. Then he drops back again and sleeps on. We each get hold of a whole army loaf and wrap it up in newspaper. The cigarettes we put in 2, as well as 3 good rations of liver sausage that were issued to us this evening. That makes a decent present. We stow the things carefully in our boots. We have to take them to protect our feet against treading on wire and broken glass on the other bank. As we must swim for it, we can take no other clothes, but it is not far and quite dark. We make off with our boots in our hands. Swiftly we slip into the water, lie on our backs and swim, holding the boots with their contents up over our heads. We climb out carefully on the opposite bank, take out the packages, and put on our boots. We put the things under our arms. And so, all wet and naked, clothed only in our boots, we break into a trot. We find the house at once. It lies among the trees. Lear trips over a root and skins his elbows. "No matter," he says gaily. The windows are shuttered. We slip round the house and try to peer through the cracks. Then we grow impatient. Suddenly Kropp hesitates. "What if there's a major in with them?" "Then we just clear off," grins Lear. "He can try to read our regimental numbers here," and smacks his behind. The door of the courtyard stands open. Our boots make a great clatter. The house of light shines through, and a woman cries out in a scared voice, "Shh, shh, comrade, bon ami, we say, and show our packages protestingly. The other two are now on the scene. The door opens wide, and the light floods over us. They recognize us, and all three burst into laughter at our appearance. They rock and sway in the doorway, they laugh so much. How supple their movements are. Un moment. They disappear and throw us bits of clothing, which we gladly wrap round ourselves. Then we venture in. A small lamp burns in the room, which is warm and smells a little of perfume. We unwrap our parcels and hand them over to the women. Their eyes shine. It is obvious that they are hungry. Then we all become rather embarrassed. Lear makes the gestures of eating, and then they come to life again, and bring out plates and knives and fall to on the food, and they hold up every slice of liver sausage and admire it before they eat it, and we sit proudly by. They overwhelm us with their chatter. We understand very little of it, but we listen, and the words sound friendly. No doubt we all look very young. The little brunette strokes my hair and says what all the French women say, "La guerre, grand malheur, pauvre garçon." I hold her arm tightly and press my lips into the palm of her hand. Her fingers close round my face. Close above me are her bewildering eyes, the soft brown of her skin, and her red lips. Her mouth speaks words I do not understand, nor do I fully understand her eyes. They seem to say more than we anticipated when we came here. There are other rooms adjoining. In passing, I see Lear. He has made a great hit with the blonde, and he knows it too. But I am lost in remoteness, in weakness, and in a passion to which I yield myself trustingly. My desires are strangely compounded of yearning and misery. I feel giddy. There is nothing here that a man can hold on to. We have left our boots at the door. They have given us slippers instead, and now nothing remains to recall for me the assurance and self-confidence of the soldier. No rifle, no belt, no tunic, no cap. I let myself drop into the unknown, come what may. Yet, in spite of all, I feel somewhat afraid. The little brunette contracts her brows when she is thinking, but when she talks they are still. And often the sound does not quite become a word, but suffocates or floats away over me half-finished. An arch, a pathway, a comet. What have I known of it? What do I know of it? The words of this foreign tongue, which I hardly understand, they caress me to a quietness in which the room grows dim and dissolves in the half-light, and only the face above me lives and is clear. How various is a face! But an hour ago it was strange, and now it is touched with a tenderness that comes, not from it, but out of the night, the world and the blood. All these things seem to shine in it together. The objects in the room are touched by it and transformed. They become isolated, and I feel almost awed at the sight of my clear skin when the light of the lamp falls upon it, and the cool brown hand passes over it. How different all this is from the conditions in the soldiers' brothels, to which we are allowed to go, and where we have to wait in long queues. I wish I never thought of them, but desire turns my mind to them involuntarily, and I am afraid, for it might be impossible ever to be free of them again. But then I feel the lips of the little brunette and press myself against them. My eyes close, and let it all fall from me, war and terror and grossness, in order to awaken young and happy. I think of the picture of the girl on the poster, and for a moment believe that my life depends on winning her. And if I press ever deeper into the arms that embrace me, perhaps a miracle may happen. So, after a time, we find ourselves reassembled again. Lear is in high spirits. We pull on our boots and take our leave warmly. The night air cools our hot bodies. The rustling poplars loom large in the darkness. The moon floats in the heavens and in the waters of the canal. We do not run. We walk beside one another with long strides. "That was worth a ration loaf," says Lear. I cannot trust myself to speak. I am not in the least happy. Then we hear footsteps and dodge behind a shrub. The steps come nearer, close by us. We see a naked soldier in boots, just like ourselves. He has a package under his arm and gallops onward. It is Chadden in full course. He has disappeared already. We laugh. In the morning he will curse us. Unobserved, we arrive again at our sacks of straw. I am called to the orderly room. The company commander gives me a leave pass and a travel pass and wishes me a good journey. I look to see how much leave I have got. 17 days, 14 days leave, and 3 days for traveling. It is not enough, and I ask whether I cannot have 5 days for traveling. Bertink points to my pass. There I see that I am not to return to the front immediately. After my leave, I have to report for a course of training to a camp on the moors. The others congratulate me. Cat gives me good advice and tells me I ought to try to get a base job. If you are smart, you'll hang on to it. I would rather not have gone for another 8 days. We are to stay here that much longer, and it is good here. Naturally, I have to stand the others' drinks at the canteen. We are all a little bit drunk. I become gloomy. I will be away for 6 weeks. That is lucky, of course, but what may happen before I get back? Shall I meet all these fellows again? Already, Haya has gone. Who will the next be? As we drink, I look at each of them in turn. Albert sits beside me and smokes. He is silent. We have always been together. Opposite squats Cat with his drooping shoulders, his broad thumb and calm voice. Muller with the protruding teeth and the booming laugh. Chadden with his mousy eyes. Lear, who has grown a full beard and looks at least 40. Over us hangs a dense cloud of smoke. Where would a soldier be without tobacco? The canteen is his refuge, and beer is far more than a drink. It is a token that a man can move his limbs and stretch in safety. We do it ceremonially. We stretch our legs out in front of us and spit deliberately. That is the only way. How it all rises up before a man when he is going away the next morning. At night we go again to the side of the canal. I am almost afraid to tell the little brunette that I am going away, and when I return we will certainly be far away from here. We will never see one another again. But she merely nods and takes no special notice. At first I am at a loss to understand. Then it suddenly dawns on me. Yes, Lear is right. If I were going up to the front, then she would have again called me pauvre garçon, but merely going on leave. She does not want to hear about that. That is not nearly so interesting. May she go to the devil with her chattering talk. A man dreams of a miracle and wakes up to loaves of bread. Next morning, after I have been deloused, I go to the railhead. Albert and Cat come with me. At the halt, we learn that it will be a couple of hours yet before the train leaves. The other two have to go back to duty. We take leave of one another. Good luck, Cat. Good luck, Albert. They go off and wave once or twice. Their figures dwindle. I know their every step and movement. I would recognize them at any distance. Then they disappear. I sit down on my pack and wait. Suddenly, I become filled with a consuming impatience to be gone. I lie down on many a station platform. I stand before many a soup kitchen. I squat on many a bench. Then at last the landscape becomes gloomy, mysterious, and familiar. It glides past the western windows with its villages, their thatched roofs like caps, pulled over the whitewashed, half-timbered houses, its cornfields gleaming like mother-of-pearl in the slanting light, its orchards, its barns, and old lime trees. The names of the stations begin to take on meaning, and my heart trembles. The train stamps and stamps onward. I stand at the window and hold on to the frame. These names mark the boundaries of my youth. Smooth meadows, fields, farmyards. A solitary team moves against the skyline along the road that runs parallel to the horizon. A barrier before which peasants stand waiting, girls waving, children playing on the embankment, roads leading into the country, smooth roads without artillery. It is evening, and if the train did not rattle, I should cry out. The plain unfolds itself. In the distance, the soft blue silhouette of the mountain ranges begins to appear. I recognize the characteristic outline of the Doldenberg, a jagged comb, springing up precipitously from the limit of the forests. Behind it should lie the town. But now the sun streams through the world, dissolving everything in its golden red light. The train swings round one curve and then another. Far away, in a long line one behind the other, stand the poplars, unsubstantial, swaying and dark, fashioned out of shadow, light, and desire. The field swings round as the train encircles it, and the intervals between the trees diminish. The trees become a block, and for a moment I see one only. Then they reappear from behind the foremost tree and stand out a long line against the sky until they are hidden by the first houses. A street crossing. I stand at the window. I cannot drag myself away. The others put their baggage ready for getting out. I repeat myself the name of the street that we cross over. Bremerstrasse, Bremerstrasse. Below there are cyclists, lorries, men. It is a gray street and a gray subway. It embraces me as though it were my mother. Then the train stops, and there is the station with noise and cries and sentries. I pick up my pack and fasten the straps. I take my rifle in my hand and stumble down the steps. On the platform I look round. I know no one among all the people hurrying to and fro. A Red Cross sister offers me something to drink. I turn away. She smiles at me too foolishly, so obsessed with her own importance. "Just look, I am giving a soldier coffee." She calls me comrade, but I will have none of it. Outside in front of the station, the stream roars alongside the street. It rushes foaming from the sluices of the mill bridge. There stands the old square watchtower, in front of it the great model lime tree, and behind it the evening. Here we have often sat. How long ago it is! We have passed over this bridge and breathed the cool, acid smell of the stagnant water. We have leaned over the still water on this side of the loch, where the green creepers and weeds hang from the piles of the bridge. And on hot days we rejoiced in the spouting foam on the other side of the loch, and told tales about our school-teachers. I pass over the bridge. I look right and left. The water is as full of weeds as ever, and it still shoots over in gleaming arches. In the tower building, laundresses still stand with bare arms, as they used to over the clean linen, and the heat from the ironing pours out through the open windows. Dogs trot along the narrow street. Before the doors of the houses, people stand and follow me with their gaze as I pass by, dirty and heavy-laden. In this confectioner's we used to eat ices, and there we learned to smoke cigarettes. Walking down the street, I know every shop, the colonial warehouse, the chemist's, the tobacconist's. Then at last I stand before the brown door with its worn latch, and my hand grows heavy. I open the door, and a wonderful freshness comes out to meet me. My eyes are dim. The stairs creak under my boots. Upstairs a door rattles. Someone is looking over the railing. It is the kitchen door that was opened. They are cooking potato cakes, and the house reeks of it, and today, of course, is Saturday. That will be my sister leaning over. For a moment I am shy and lower my head. Then I take off my helmet and look up. Yes, it is my eldest sister. "Paul!" she cries. "Paul!" I nod. My pack bumps against the banisters. My rifle is so heavy. She pulls a door open and calls, "Mother! Mother! Paul is here!" I can go no further. Mother, mother, Paul is here. I lean against the wall and grip my helmet and rifle. I hold them as tight as I can, but I cannot take another step. The staircase fades before my eyes. I support myself with the butt of my rifle against my feet and clench my teeth fiercely, but I cannot speak a word. My sister's call has made me powerless. I can do nothing. I struggle to make myself laugh, to speak, but no word comes, and so I stand on the steps, miserable, helpless, paralyzed, and against my will the tears run down my cheeks. My sister comes back and says, "Why, what is the matter?" Then I pull myself together and stagger on to the landing. I lean my rifle in a corner. I set my pack against the wall, place my helmet on it, and fling down my equipment and baggage. Then I say fiercely, "Bring me a handkerchief." She gives me one from the cupboard, and I dry my face. Above me on the wall hangs the glass case with the colored butterflies that once I collected. Now I hear my mother's voice. It comes from the bedroom. "Is she in bed?" I ask my sister. "She is ill," she replies. I go into her, give her my hand, and say as calmly as I can, "Here I am, Mother." She lies still in the dim light. Then she asks anxiously, "Are you wounded?" And I feel her searching glance. "No, I have got leave." My mother is very pale. I am afraid to make a light. "Here I lie now," says she, "and cry instead of being glad." "Are you sick, Mother?" I ask. "I am going to get up a little today," she says, and turns to my sister, who is continually running to the kitchen to watch that the food does not burn. "And put out the jar of preserved whortleberries. You like that, don't you?" she asks me. "Yes, Mother. I haven't had any for a long time." "We might almost have known you were coming," laughs my sister. "There is just your favorite dish, potato cakes, and even whortleberries go with them, too." "And it is Saturday," I add. "Sit here beside me," says my mother. She looks at me. Her hands are white and sickly and frail compared with mine. We say very little, and I am thankful that she asks nothing. What ought I to say? Everything I could have wished for has happened. I have come out of it safely and sit here beside her. And in the kitchen stands my sister making the evening bread and singing. "Dear boy," says my mother softly. We were never very demonstrative in our family. Poor folk who toil and are full of cares are not so. It is not their way to protest what they already know. When my mother says to me, "Dear boy," it means much more than when another uses it. I know well enough that the jar of whortleberries is the only one they have had for months, and that she has kept it for me. And the somewhat stale cakes that she gives me, too. She has taken a favorable opportunity of getting a few, and has put them all by for me. I sit by her bed, and through the window the chestnut trees in the beer garden opposite glow in brown and gold. I breathe deeply and say over to myself, "You are at home. You are at home." But a sense of strangeness will not leave me. I can find nothing of myself in all these things. There is my mother. There is my sister. There my case of butterflies, and there the mahogany piano. But I am not myself there. There is a distance, a veil between us. I go and fetch my pack to the bedside and turn out the things I have brought. A whole Edamer cheese that Cat provided me with, 2 loaves of army bread, 3/4 of a pound of butter, 2 tins of liver sausage, a pound of dripping, and a little bag of rice. "I suppose you can make some use of that." They nod. "Is it pretty bad for food here?" I inquire. "Yes, there's not much. Do you get enough out there?" I smile and point to the things I have brought. Not always quite so much as that, of course, but we fare reasonably well. Erna goes out to bring in the food. Suddenly my mother seizes hold of my hand and asks falteringly, "Was it very bad out there, Paul?" Mother, what should I answer to that? You would not understand and never realize it, and you never should realize it. Was it bad, you ask? You, Mother. I shake my head and say, No, Mother, not so very. There are always a lot of us together, so it isn't so bad. Yes, but Heinrich Bredermeyer was here just lately, and he said it was terrible out there now, with the gas and all the rest of it. It is my mother who says that. She says, with the gas and all the rest of it. She does not know what she is saying. She is merely anxious for me. Should I tell her how we once found 3 enemy trenches with their garrison all stiff as though stricken with apoplexy? Against the parapets, in the dugouts, just where they were, the men stood and lay about, with blue faces, dead. No, Mother, that's only talk, I answer. There's not very much in what Bredermeyer says. You see, for instance, I'm well and fit. Before my mother's tremulous anxiety, I recover my composure. Now I can walk about and talk and answer questions without fear of having suddenly to lean against the wall because the world turns soft as rubber and my veins become brimstone. My mother wants to get up, so I go for a while to my sister in the kitchen. What is the matter with her? I ask. She shrugs her shoulders. She has been in bed 2 months now, but we did not want to write and tell you. Several doctors have been to see her. One of them said, it is probably cancer again. I go to the district commandant to report myself. Slowly, I wander through the streets. Occasionally, someone speaks to me. I do not delay long, for I have little inclination to talk. On my way back from the barracks, a loud voice calls out to me. Still lost in thought, I turn round and find myself confronted by a major. "Can't you salute?" he blusters. "Sorry, Major," I say in embarrassment. "I didn't notice you." "Don't you know how to speak properly?" he roars. I would like to hit him in the face, but control myself, for my leave depends on it. I click my heels and say, "I did not see you, Herr Major." "Then keep your eyes open," he snorts. "What is your name?" I give it. His fat red face is furious. "What regiment?" I give him full particulars. Even yet he has not had enough. "Where are they?" But I have had more than enough, and say, "Between Langemark and Bixschoote." "Eh?" he asks, a bit stupefied. I explain to him that I arrived on leave only an hour or 2 since, thinking that he would then trot along. But not at all. He gets even more furious. "You think you can bring your front-line manners here, what? Well, we don't stand that sort of thing. Thank God we have discipline here." 20 paces backwards, double march," he commands. I am mad with rage, but I cannot say anything to him. He could put me under arrest if he liked. So I double back and then march up to him. 6 paces from him, I spring to a stiff salute and maintain it until I am 6 paces beyond him. He calls me back again and affably gives me to understand that for once he is pleased to put mercy before justice. I pretend to be duly grateful. "Now dismiss," he says. I turn about smartly and march off. That ruins the evening for me. I go back home and throw my uniform into a corner. I ought to have done that before. Then I take out my civilian clothes from the wardrobe and put them on. I feel awkward. The suit is rather tight and short. I have grown in the army. Collar and tie give me some trouble. In the end, my sister ties the bow for me. But how light the suit is! It feels as though I had nothing on but a shirt and underpants. I look at myself in the glass. It is a strange sight. A sunburnt, overgrown candidate for confirmation gazes at me in astonishment. My mother's pleased to see me wearing civilian clothes. It makes me less strange to her. But my father would rather I kept my uniform on so that he could take me to visit his acquaintances. But I refuse. It is pleasant to sit quietly somewhere, In the beer garden, for example, under the chestnuts by the skittle alley. The leaves fall down on the table and on the ground, only a few, the first. A glass of beer stands in front of me. I've learned to drink in the army. The glass is half empty, but there are still a few good swigs ahead of me, and besides, I can always order a second and a third if I wish to. There are no bugles and no bombardments. The children of the house play in the skittle alley, and the dog rests his head against my knee. The sky is blue. Between the leaves of the chestnuts rise the green spire of St. Margaret's Church. This is good. I like it. But I cannot get on with the people. My mother is the only one who asks no questions. Not so my father. He wants me to tell him about the front. He is curious in a way that I find stupid and distressing. I no longer have any real contact with him. There is nothing he likes more than just hearing about it. I realize he does not know that a man cannot talk of such things. I would do it willingly, but it is too dangerous for me to put these things into words. I am afraid they might then become gigantic, and I be no longer able to master them. What would become of us if everything that happens out there were quite clear to us? So I confine myself to telling him a few amusing things. But he wants to know whether I have ever had a hand-to-hand fight. I say no and get up and go out. But that does not mend matters. After I had been startled a couple of times in the street by the screaming of the tramcars, which resembles the shriek of a shell coming straight for one, somebody taps me on the shoulder. It is my German master, and he fastens on me with the usual question. "Well, how are things out there? Terrible, terrible, eh? Yes, it is dreadful, but we must carry on. And after all, you do at least get decent food out there, so I hear. You look well, Paul, and fit. Naturally, it's worse here. Naturally. The best for our soldiers every time, that goes without saying." He drags me along to a table with a lot of others. They welcome me. A headmaster shakes hands with me and says, "So, you come from the front. What is the spirit like out there? Excellent, eh? Excellent?" I explain that no one would be sorry to be back home. He laughs uproariously. "I can well believe it. But first, you have to give the froggies a good hiding. Do you smoke? Here, try one. Waiter, bring a beer as well for our young warrior." Unfortunately, I have accepted the cigar, so I have to remain. And they are all so dripping with goodwill that it is impossible to object. All the same, I feel annoyed and smoke like a chimney as hard as I can. In order to make at least some show of appreciation, I toss off the beer in one gulp. Immediately, a second is ordered. People know how much they are indebted to the soldiers. They argue about what we ought to annex. The headmaster with the steel watch chain wants to have at least the whole of Belgium, the coal areas of France, and a slice of Russia. He produces reasons why we must have them, and is quite inflexible until at last the others give in to him. Then he begins to expound just whereabouts in France the breakthrough must come, and turns to me. "Now shove ahead a bit out there with your everlasting trench warfare. Smash through the Johnnies, and then there will be peace." I reply that, in our opinion, a breakthrough may not be possible. The enemy may have too many reserves. Besides, the war may be rather different from what people think. He dismisses the idea loftily and informs me I know nothing about it. "The details, yes," says he, "but this relates to the whole, and of that you are not able to judge. You see only your little sector, and so cannot have any general survey. You do your duty, you risk your lives. That deserves the highest honor. Every man of you ought to have the Iron Cross. But first of all, the enemy line must be broken through in Flanders and then rolled up from the top." He blows his nose and wipes his beard. "Completely rolled up they must be, from the top to the bottom, and then to Paris." I would like to know just how he pictures it to himself, and pour the third glass of beer into mine. Immediately he orders another. But I break away. He stuffs a few more cigars into my pocket and sends me off with a friendly slap. "All of the best. I hope we will soon hear something worthwhile from you." I imagine leave would be different from this. Indeed, it was different a year ago. It was I, of course, that have changed in the interval. There lies a gulf between that time and today. At that time, I still knew nothing about the war. We had been only in quiet sectors. But now I see that I have been crushed without knowing it. I find I do not belong here any more. It is a foreign world. Some of these people ask questions, some ask no questions, but one can see that they are quite confident they know all about it. They often say so with their air of comprehension, so there is no point in discussing it. They make up a picture of it for themselves. I prefer to be alone, so that no one troubles me, for they all come back to the same thing, how badly it goes and how well it goes. One thinks it is this way, another that, and yet they are always absorbed in the things that go to make up their own existence. Formerly, I lived in just the same way myself, but now I feel no contact here any longer. They talk to me too much. They have worries, aims, desires that I cannot comprehend. I often sit with one of them in the little beer garden and try to explain to him that this is really the only thing, just to sit quietly like this. They understand, of course. They agree. They may even feel it so, too. But only with words. Only with words. Yes, that is it. They feel it, but always with only half of themselves. The rest of their being is taken up with other things. They are so divided in themselves that none feels it with his whole essence. I cannot even say myself exactly what I mean. When I see them here, in their rooms, in their offices, about their occupations, I feel an irresistible attraction in it. I would like to be here too and forget the war, but also it repels me. It is so narrow. How can that fill a man's life? He ought to smash it to bits. How can they do it while out at the front the splinters are whining over the shell holes and the star shells go up? The wounded are carried back on the waterproof sheets and comrades crouch in the trenches. They are different men here, men I cannot properly understand, whom I envy and despise. I must think of Kat and Albert and Muller and Tjaden. What will they be doing? No doubt they are sitting in the canteen, or perhaps swimming. Soon they will have to go up to the front line again. In my room behind the table stands a brown leather sofa. I sit down on it. On the walls are pasted countless pictures that I once used to cut out of the newspapers. In between are drawings and postcards that have come my way. In the corner is a small iron stove. Against the wall opposite stand the bookshelves with my books. I used to live in this room before I was a soldier. The books I bought gradually with the money I earned by coaching. Many of them are second-hand, all the classics, for example. One volume in blue cloth boards cost 1 mark 20 pfennig. I bought them complete because I was thoroughgoing. I did not trust the editors of selections, even though they may have chosen all the best. So I purchased only collected works. I read most of them with laudable zeal, but few of them really appealed to me. I preferred the other books, the moderns, which were of course much dearer. A few I came by not quite honestly. I borrowed and did not return them because I did not want to part with them. One shelf is filled with school books. They are not so well cared for. They are badly thumbed, and pages have been torn out for certain purposes. Then below are periodicals, papers, and letters, all jammed in together with drawings and rough sketches. I want to think myself back into that time. It is still in the room. I feel it at once. The walls have preserved it. My hands rest on the arms of the sofa. Now I make myself at home and draw up my legs so that I sit comfortably in the corner, in the arms of the sofa. The little window is open. Through it I see the familiar picture of the street with the rising spire of the church at the end. There are a couple of flowers on the table, pen-holders, a shell as a paperweight, the inkwell. Here nothing is changed. It will be like this, too, if I am lucky, when the war is over and I come back here for good. I will sit here just like this and look at my room and wait. I feel excited, but I do not want to be, for that is not right. I want that quiet rapture again. I want to feel the same powerful, nameless urge that I used to feel when I turned to my books. The breath of desire that then arose from the colored backs of the books shall fill me again, melt the heavy dead lump of lead that lies somewhere in me, and waken again the impatience of the future, the quick joy in the world of thought. It shall bring back again the lost eagerness of my youth. I sit and wait. It occurs to me that I must go and see Kemrick's mother. I might visit Mittelstedt, too. He should be at the barracks. I look out of the window. Beyond the sober picture of the street appears a range of hills, distant and light. It changes to a clear day in autumn, and I sit by the fire with Kat and Albert and eat potatoes baked in their skins. But I do not want to think of that. I sweep it away. The room shall speak. It must catch me up and hold me. I want to feel that I belong here. I want to hearken and know when I go back to the front that the war will sink down, be drowned utterly in the great homecoming tide, know that it will be then past forever, and not gnaw us continually, that it will have none but an outward power over us. The backs of the books stand in rows. I know them all still. I remember arranging them in order. I implore them with my eyes. Speak to me. Take me up. Take me, life of my youth. You are carefree, beautiful. Receive me again. I wait. Images float through my mind, but they do not grip me. They are mere shadows and memories. Nothing. My disquietude grows. A terrible feeling of foreignness suddenly rises up in me. I cannot find my way back. I am shut out, though I entreat earnestly and put forth all my strength. Nothing stirs. Listless and wretched, like a condemned man, I sit there, and the past withdraws itself. And at the same time I fear to importune it too much, because I do not know what might happen then. I am a soldier. I must cling to that. Wearily, I stand up and look out of the window. Then I take one of the books, intending to read, and turn over the leaves. But I put it away and take out another. There are passages in that have been marked. I look, turn over the pages, take up fresh books. Already they are piled up beside me. Speedily more join the heap. Papers, magazines, letters. I stand there dumb, as before a judge, dejected. Words, they do not reach me. Slowly I place the books back in the shelves. Never more. Quietly I go out of the room. Still I do not give up hope. I do not, indeed, go to my room any more, but comfort myself with the thought that a few days are not enough to judge by. Afterwards, later on, there is plenty of time for that. So I go over to see Mittelstedt in the barracks, and we sit in his room. There is an atmosphere about it that I do not like, but with which I am quite familiar. Mittelstedt has some news ready for me that electrifies me on the spot. He tells me Cantrick has been called up as a territorial. "Just think of it," says he, and takes out a couple of good cigars. "I come back here from the hospital and bump right into him. He stretches out his paw to me and bleats, 'Hello, Mittelstedt, how are you?' I look at him and say, Territorial cantric, business is business, and schnapps is schnapps. You ought to know that well enough yourself. Stand to attention when you speak to a superior officer." You should have seen his face. A cross between a dud and a pickled cucumber. He tried once again to chum up, so I snubbed him a bit harder. Then he brought out his biggest guns and asked confidentially, "Would you like to use my influence so that you can take an emergency exam?" He was trying to remind me of those things, you know. Then I got mad, and I reminded him of something instead. "Territorial cantric, 2 years ago you preached us into enlisting, and among us there was one, Joseph Boehm, who didn't want to enlist. He was killed 3 months before he would have been called up in the ordinary way. If it had not been for you, he would have lived just that much longer. And now, dismiss. You will hear from me later." It was easy to get put in charge of his company. First thing I did was to take him to the stores and fit him out with a suitable equipment. You will see in a minute. We go out to the parade ground. The company has fallen in. Mittelstadt stands them at ease and inspects. Then I see Cantrick, and I'm scarcely able to stifle my laughter. He is wearing a faded blue tunic. On the back and in the sleeves there are big dark patches. The overcoat must have belonged to a giant. The black worn breeches are just as much too short. They reach barely halfway down his calf. The boots, tough old clodhoppers, with turned-up toes and laces at the side, are much too big for him. But as a compensation, the cap is too small, a terribly dirty, mean little pillbox. The whole rig-out is just pitiful. Mittelstadt stops in front of him. "Territorial Cantrick, do you call those buttons polished? You seem as though you can never learn." "Inadequate, Cantrick, quite inadequate." It makes me bubble with glee. In school, Cantrick used to chasten Mittelstadt with exactly the same expression. "Inadequate, Mittelstadt, quite inadequate." Mittelstadt continues to upbraid him. "Look at Becher now. There's a model for you to learn from." I can hardly believe my eyes. Becher is there too. Becher, our school porter. And he is a model. Cantrick shoots a glance at me, as if he would like to eat me, but I grin at him innocently, as though I do not recognize him any more. Nothing could look more ludicrous than his forage cap and his uniform, and this is the object before whom we used to stand in anguish, as he sat up there enthroned at his desk, spearing at us with his pencil for our mistakes in those irregular French verbs with which afterwards we made so little headway in France. That is barely 2 years ago, and now here stands Territorial Cantrick, the spell quite broken, with bent knees, arms like pothooks, unpolished buttons, and that ludicrous rig-out, an impossible soldier. I cannot reconcile this with the menacing figure at the schoolmaster's desk. I wonder what I, the old soldier, would do if this skin full of woe ever dared to say to me again, "Baumer, give the imperfect of aller." Then Mittelstadt makes them practice skirmishing, and as a favor appoints Cantrick squad leader. Now in skirmishing, the squad leader has always to keep 20 paces in front of his squad. If the order comes, "On the march, about turn," the line of skirmishers simply turns about, but the squad leader, who now finds himself suddenly 20 paces in the rear of the line, has to rush up at the double and take his position again 20 paces in front of the squad. That makes altogether 40 paces double march. But no sooner has he arrived than the order, "On the march, about turn," comes again, and he once more has to race at top speed another 40 paces to the other side. In this way, the squad has made merely the turnabout and a couple of paces, while the squad leader dashes backwards and forwards like a fart on a curtain pole. That is one of Himmelstoss's well-worn recipes. Cantrick can hardly expect anything else from Mittelstadt, for he once messed up the latter's chance of promotion, and Mittelstadt would be a big fool not to make the best of such a good opportunity as this before he goes back to the front again. A man might well die easier, after the army has given him just one such stroke of luck. In the meantime, Cantrick is dashing up and down like a wild boar. After a while, Mittelstadt stops the skirmish and begins the very important exercise of creeping. On hands and knees, carrying his gun in regulation fashion, Cantrick shoves his absurd figure over the sand immediately in front of us. He is breathing hard, and his panting is music. Mittelstadt encourages Cantrick the Territorial with quotations from Cantrick the schoolmaster. "Territorial Cantrick, we have the good fortune to live in a great age. We must all humble ourselves and for once put aside bitterness." Cantrick sweats and spits out a dirty piece of wood that is lodged in his teeth. Mittelstadt stoops down and says reproachfully, "And in the trifles never lose sight of the great adventure, Territorial Cantrick." It amazes me that Cantrick does not explode with a bang, especially when, during physical exercises, Mittelstadt copies him to perfection, seizing him by the seat of his trousers as he is climbing along the horizontal bar, so that he can just raise his chin above the beam and then starts to give him good advice. That is exactly what Cantrick used to do to him at school. The extra fatigues are next detailed off. "Cantrick and Betcher, bread fatigue. Take the handcart with you." In a couple of minutes the two set off together, pushing the barrow. Cantrick, in a fury, walks with his head down, but the porter is delighted to have scored light duty. The bakehouse is away at the other end of the town, and the two must go there and back through the whole length of it. "They've done that a couple of times already," grins Mittelstadt. "There are still a few people waiting to see them." "Excellent," I say. "But hasn't he reported you yet?" "He did try. Our CO laughed like the deuce when he heard the story. He hasn't any time for schoolmasters. Besides, I'm sweet with his daughter." "He'll mess up the examination for you." "I don't care," said Mittelstadt calmly. "Besides, his complaint came to nothing, because I could show that he had had hardly anything but light duty." "Couldn't you polish him up a bit?" I ask. "He is too stupid. I couldn't be bothered," answers Mittelstadt contemptuously. What is leave? A pause that only makes everything after it so much worse. Already the sense of parting begins to intrude itself. My mother watches me silently. I know she counts the days. Every morning she is sad. It is one day less. She has put away my pack. She does not want to be reminded by it. The hours pass quickly if a man broods. I pull myself together and go with my sister to the butcher's to get a pound of bones. That is a great luxury, and people line up early in the morning and stand waiting. Many of them faint. We have no luck. After waiting by turns for 3 hours, the queue disperses. The bones have not lasted out. It is a good thing I get my rations. I bring them to my mother, and in that way we all get something decent to eat. The days grow even more strained, and my mother's eyes more sorrowful. 4 days left now. I must go and see Kemrick's mother. I cannot write that down. This quaking, sobbing woman who shakes me and cries out on me, "Why are you living then, when he is dead?" Who drowns me in tears and calls out, "What are you there for at all, child, when you—" Who drops into a chair and wails, "Did you see him? Did you see him then? How did he die?" I tell her he was shot through the heart and died instantaneously. She looks at me, she doubts me. "You lie. I know better. I have felt how terribly he died. I have heard his voice at night. I have felt his anguish. Tell the truth. I want to know it. I must know it." "No," I say. "I was beside him. He died at once." She pleads with me gently. "Tell me. You must tell me. I know you want to comfort me, but don't you see? You torment me far more than if you told me the truth. I cannot bear the uncertainty. Tell me how it was, and even though it will be terrible, it will be far better than what I have to think if you don't." I will never tell her. She can make mincemeat out of me first. I console her, but she strikes me as rather stupid all the same. Why doesn't she stop worrying? Kemrick will stay dead whether she knows about it or not. When a man has seen so many dead, he cannot understand any longer why there should be so much anguish over a single individual. So I say rather impatiently, "He died immediately. He felt absolutely nothing at all. His face was quite calm." She is silent. Then she says slowly, "Will you swear it?" "Yes." "By everything that is sacred to you?" Good God, what is there that is sacred to me? Such things change pretty quickly with us. "Yes, he died at once." "Are you willing never to come back yourself if it isn't true?" "May I never come back if he wasn't killed instantaneously." I would swear to anything, but she seems to believe me. She moans and weeps steadily. I have to tell how it happened, so I invent a story, and I almost believe it myself. As I leave, she kisses me and gives me a picture of him. In his recruit's uniform, he leans on a round rustic table with legs made of birch branches. Behind him, a wood is painted on a curtain, and on the table stands a mug of beer. It is the last evening at home. Everyone is silent. I go to bed early. I seize the pillow, press it against myself, and bury my head in it. Who knows if I will ever lie in a feather bed again? Late in the night, my mother comes into my room. She thinks I am asleep, and I pretend to be so. To talk, to stay awake with one another, it is too hard. She sits long into the night, although she is in pain and often writhes. At last I can bear it no longer, and pretend I have just wakened up. "Go and sleep, Mother. You'll catch cold here." "I can sleep enough later," she says. I sit up. "I don't go straight back to the front, Mother. I have to do 4 weeks at the training camp. I may come over from there one Sunday, perhaps." She is silent. Then she asks gently, "Are you very much afraid?" "No, Mother." "I would like to tell you to be on your guard against the women out in France. They are no good." "Ah, Mother, Mother, you still think I am a child. Why can I not put my head in your lap and weep? Why have I always to be strong and self-controlled? I would like to weep and be comforted too. Indeed, I am little more than a child. In the wardrobe still hang my short boy's trousers. It is such a little time ago. Why is it over?" "Where we are, there aren't any women, Mother," I say as calmly as I can. "And be very careful at the front, Paul." "Ah, Mother, Mother, why do I not take you in my arms and die with you? What poor wretches we are." "Yes, Mother, I will." "I will pray for you every day, Paul." "Ah, Mother, Mother, let us rise up and go out, back through the years, where the burden of all this misery lies on us no more, back to you and me alone, Mother." "Perhaps you can get a job that is not so dangerous." "Yes, Mother, perhaps I can get into the cookhouse. That can easily be done." "You do it then, and if the others say anything—" "That won't worry me, Mother." She sighs. Her face is a white gleam in the darkness. "Now you must go to sleep, Mother." She does not reply. I get up and wrap my cover round her shoulders. She supports herself on my arm. She is in pain. And so I take her to her room. I stay with her a little while. "And you must get well again, Mother, before I come back." "Yes, yes, my child." "You ought not to send your things to me, Mother. We have plenty to eat out there. You can make much better use of them here." How destitute she lies there in her bed, she that loves me more than all the world. As I am about to leave, she says hastily, "I have 2 pairs of underpants for you. They are all wool. They will keep you warm. You must not forget to put them in your pack." "Ah, Mother, I know what these underpants have cost you in waiting and walking and begging. Ah, Mother, Mother, how can it be that I must part from you? Who else is there that has any claim on me but you? Here I sit, and there you are lying, and we have so much to say that we could never say it. Good night, Mother." "Good night, my child." The room is dark. I hear my mother's breathing and the ticking of the clock. Outside the window the wind blows and the chestnut trees rustle. On the landing I stumble over my pack, which lies there already made up, because I have to leave early in the morning. I bite into my pillow. I grasp the iron rods of my bed with my fists. I ought never to have come here. Out there I was indifferent and often hopeless. I will never be able to be so again. I was a soldier, and now I am nothing but an agony for myself, for my mother, for everything that is so comfortless and without end. I ought never to have come on leave. End of Chapter 7.